Hi, okay. Let's see, I'm going to ask, can you post an answer in the side Q&A app? If just let me know that you can hear me. This is Ariane, and we're ready to get going. I was just waiting for a couple people to sign on. Just go ahead and let me know. Go ahead and post your, oh wait. I can post a question. Let's do that. Or perhaps it's not working. Let me see. Or you can do it right in the Google Plus. Let me know that you can hear me. Let's see. Okay. And the questions aren't working, so let's see. Hi, this is me, Ariane. I'm going to get ready to start the webinar now. I was just waiting for a couple more people to sign on. I'm trying to get the Q&A app to kick in so you can send me a message and just let me know that you can hear me. Apparently it's not working. So if you have questions, you can tweet them to me at Wedding Mix, or you can leave them on the Wedding Mix Google Plus page, and I'll go ahead and check over there as well. Okay. Let's see. Let me pull up the at Wedding Mix. There we go. Twitter. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen so you can see the slides. So we're here today to talk about the perfect shot list for your wedding. One of the best things with the Wedding Mix app is that you can actually tell your guests what scenes you want to include in your wedding video, or what photos and stuff that you want. So I know the photos and videos that most people think about are, get our ring exchange, get our vows, but there's so much more to your wedding than that. So what we're going to talk about is how to create the perfect shot list, because with the Wedding Mix app, you can actually put the shot list right in there so your guests know what you want to capture for your wedding. And that way it really comes down to what you want to remember after the wedding. Okay. So we're going to talk about 5 ways to just build your perfect shot list in 5 simple steps. So the first question you want to ask yourself is, how long is your wedding? Is your wedding, is it a destination wedding, so it's like a week long, or is it, a one-day affair, maybe just your wedding day itself and the rehearsal dinner? Are you having a multicultural wedding? So like a lot of Indian weddings, they're 3 days long. So you want to keep that in mind when you're setting your shot list, so you know what to put in it, and that'll give you some clues as to what other events that you have going on that you'd want to include. Okay, I'm just going to check if that Q&A app ever started working. No. So Melissa, if you have any questions, you can go ahead and tweet them to me, or just put them right in the, oh, good. Thanks for saying in there that you can hear me. I don't know why the Q&A isn't working, but I'll keep looking here on the Google Plus page. So if you have any questions. So let me ask you first, Melissa, how long is your wedding? Are you having a one-day wedding, or are you having like a destination wedding? And you can go ahead and leave it right in the comments in the Google Plus page. And by the way, although I have done these webinars on Google Plus before, they seem to throw new technical challenges at me each time. So my apologies for the Q&A not working. Let's see. Okay, I am going to move on to, let's see. The next slide. So the first thing, like I said, you want to look at is how long is your wedding? The next question you want to ask yourself is what pre and post wedding events do you have going on? So, at most weddings, you're going to have a rehearsal, you're going to have getting ready, you're going to have the after party. Of course, there's going to be portraits, the reception, the ceremony. A lot of times there's an after party, or if it was my wedding, the party the reception just went till 1 in the morning. There was a morning after brunch. So what events do you have going on that weekend that you would want to include in your shot list? And of course, the honeymoon itself, you want to include, so think about what events you have that all the guests are coming in for that you want to include in the shot list, and make sure you include those in there. Okay, so you're having one day. Cool. And are you having a lot of out-of-town guests at your wedding? Because that's going to be actually one of the next questions. Everyone's basically traveling. So that would be a cool thing to include in your shot list, is to actually have all of your family who's coming in from out of town. They can film little greetings for you. Let's say like at the airports where they're at, kind of like selfie videos at the airport. Like here I am at the Denver airport getting ready to traverse through the TSA line to get to your wedding, and kind of like a play-by-play of their road trip to your wedding or whatever else. And that can make a fun little montage in your wedding video itself, is everybody's travels to get to the wedding. In fact, if your wedding is someplace where a lot of people are traveling to get to it, you might have some people who aren't going to be there, and they can still download the app and the interview questions and still film something to include in your wedding video, which is cool, because if you put some interview questions right in the shot list, they can answer them and still upload for your wedding video. So the next thing would be, what planning events do you have? Like showers, bachelorette, tastings. We actually just had a blogger bride, 50 Peach, who put up her bachelorette video. She filmed it using the app, and so she had that in her shot list. She had, the bachelorette party, she had her showers in there, cake tasting. So like all these little things, because your wedding is so much more than just your wedding day. So she had all those different things in her shot list. And so her guests all knew, like she had them download the app way before the wedding. So they were all prepared and they knew what types of events she wanted to put in there. And so let's see. So the next thing you want to really consider, the next question you want to ask yourself is, what is most unique about your wedding? Like we all live in Pinterest, of course, and see all these amazing, unique weddings. But what is it to you that makes your wedding so incredibly special? Like, do you have special DIY projects that you're doing? You'd want to include that on maybe not the shot list that you're giving to your guests, but your own shot list for yourself. So like for my wedding, I made my dress, and that was crazy because I taught myself to sew and I made my dress. And it would have been awesome to have video of the whole process. I mean, like literally I cut out 19 yards of tulle. That's I don't know how to describe it, the stiff stuff that goes underneath the skirt. We made our wedding invitations. So my husband's father, who was a veteran, was there with a hot glue gun and glitter creating the wedding invitations. And there was alcohol involved. Like it was great. Each DIY project was its own party. And those are the things that you want to make sure you get photos and video of, because that's where the memories are. Like it's so much more, and the day is awesome, but also everything you have leading up to that. The next really unique thing about your wedding, and it truly is unique about every wedding, is the guest list. So who's attending? For our wedding, it was the last family event for both of our grandmothers. So we wanted to, we didn't know it at the time that it was going to be, but we did make sure we got photos of them. We didn't actually have video, but that's kind of why we started Wedding Mix. But you want to make sure those VIP wedding guests that you have video of them and make sure they're on the shot list. Because some of the cutest videos we've done have been, grandma challenging the groom, her grandson, to a game of beer pong, or grandma and grandpa, flower girl and ring bearer. Those special family members you definitely want to have on your shot list. And like I said about traveling, how far are people coming from? For our wedding, there were people coming from Australia, from Texas. We got married in Detroit. Uh, let's see, we had some people, I believe, from Florida. So when people are making that special trip just for you and to help you guys celebrate your wedding, you want to make sure you can include them in your video somehow. Did you have any questions so far on what we're doing? I'll keep checking back on the Google Plus page too for any questions. Let's see. Okay, now what it really boils down to with the shot list is what moments do you most want to remember on your 5th anniversary? So picture on your 5th anniversary, you're popping the DVD in the player and you're sitting on the couch and eating popcorn and remembering your wedding. And, while you're going through all the planning, you really do think you're going to remember everything, but some of those memories start to fade. So when you think forward to your 5th anniversary, what moments are going to be the most important for you to remember? Like for me personally, it would have been anything with my grandma. It would have been making the dress. It would have been our first dance because we spent 6 weeks taking dance lessons and getting it choreographed. And then we didn't get video. So it was kind of dumb. So it's, think about those most important moments, the things you really, really want to remember. For me, another great one was my husband's brother's toast. It was so cute and it was just so poignant, and that meant a lot to remember. Or the wild and crazy drunken moms dancing, that that would have been good to remember. So think about all those special moments, and that's what you want to include on your shot list. You think about the answers to those first 4 questions about how long is your wedding, what pre and post wedding events do you have going on. So that would be things like the getting ready. A great example with getting ready that one of our brides did was she had the groomsmen take one camera and the bridesmaids take another, and they both filmed their getting ready at the same time. And then she did kind of a he said, she said of the getting ready. So the girls were all putting on their eyelashes and primping and getting all ready, and the boys were drinking and playing golf at the exact same time. So think about the parts before and after the actual ceremony itself and what you want to capture, especially, if there's anything like a surprise that you have planned or a secret flash mob dance or anything like that. You want to make sure your guests who are filming know about it so they can capture it for you. And then the last question was about what's most unique about your wedding. So you want to make sure anything that's really unique, you want to make sure you put on there. And let me just check for any questions. Okay, cool. So a few bonus tips is don't make your shot list too long because you don't want to make it onerous for your guests. So with the Wedding Mix app, we limit it to 255 characters. So it could be things like bachelorette party baseball game and wedding shower. We had one with an awesome fist bump entrance. So like the wedding party entrances can be one. The booze cruise or whatever you have going on that's really special for your wedding. You want to make sure to include that. So like some people have a hand fasting, I think it's called. So anything like that you want to put in there. But at the same time, I've also seen where some people had, a 3-page shot list, and that's kind of too much because at that point your guests are going to be more paying attention to your shot list than enjoying the wedding themselves. So another important thing is how to tell your friends about your shot list. The most successful way we saw was one of our brides actually had a party like the week before the wedding and sat down with her friends and said, "Hey, I'm using the Wedding Mix app. Here's how you download it. It's so awesome that you're going to help us capture photos and videos for our wedding. And here's how you do it. Here's our code. We're so excited to share this with you and to have you share your photos and videos with us." Because really, what your friends are doing when they're taking photos and videos at your wedding is they're helping create your actual wedding video. Super special. They're going to capture all the things that, although you might have pros there, these are things that they might not actually be there for because they're following you around, right? Because their job is to capture you on your wedding day, but your friend's job is to capture all the crazy stuff. So it's amazing the things they can get for you. Another way to tell your friends that you want to get their photos and videos is by email. And that's super convenient too, because you can put the links right into your project in the email. Of course, on Facebook and also on wedding websites, because you can also put up your finished video on there as well. And bourbon, I often recommend plying your friends with alcohol and then asking them for their photos and videos. So another important tip is how to work with your photographer and videographer so that your friends don't photobomb. So some photobombing is okay, but for things like the ceremony, you want to find out where the photographer and videographer are going to be set up. Like, so let's say you have a pro videographer. You want to make sure, I mean, it's great that your friends are going to be capturing things on their smartphones, but you also want to make sure they don't block the shots for the pros. Because when you print out a real or get printed a really nice photo from your wedding, you don't necessarily want to see your friends with their smartphones in those photos. So one thing a lot of photographers and videographers will do is set up a time so that your friends can actually take photos before them or after them, so that your friends' flashes don't mess up the photos from the photographer. And also, you don't want to be looking at your friend's phone instead of at the photographer at a time they want you to. Also, work with your photographer and videographer to plan photobomb moments, because we've seen some great photos and videos where they were planned photobombs. And we've also seen some great funny video bombs where they weren't planned, but they were hysterical and the bride laughed about it anyway. So just work with your guests and the photographer and videographer to make sure it's all handled so that it doesn't get in their way, but that your friends can still get some really cool shots. And lastly, we do work with affiliate vendors. So if you haven't already asked your photographer, planner, florist if they are a StoryMix affiliate, go ahead and ask them, because they might be able to get you a discount. And very lastly, you can definitely get a discount when you pin the Wedding Mix homepage. So let me know if you need any info on that and I can get it for you. And that was about it. Did you have any other questions? I'll go ahead and leave this up for a minute or so just to see. Yep, and that was the last slide. Oops. Aha, yes, I can finally see the I can finally see the Q&A. Okay, there we go. All right, what about older guests? Great question. So all right, so how to let them know about the cameras. Even with older guests, I remember even at my own wedding, everybody has an uncle or somebody who loves taking video. So what you're going to do is find your Uncle Charlie, or in my case, it was my father-in-law, who loved, like, even when there were those huge, it was basically a VCR strapped to your side, he would bring them to family things and my husband's father and take video. So even with older guests, there's going to be somebody who loves taking video, and that's who you give the cameras to. As far as the app, like for guests like that, you can let them know with table cards. We do have a download that you can print out for the table cards. We also have on the blog. We have on the blog some table cards, some smaller ones, and then we also have in your dashboard. There's some that you can print out. And as far as letting older guests know, I think telephone definitely works too. I wouldn't recommend leaving the cameras on a table because somebody has to be really outgoing and a big camera, really familiar with cameras to want to grab them off the table. So the best idea, and one thing we email, is a spreadsheet from one of our blogger brides. She was a wedding bee, and she actually made up a spreadsheet of who she asked to film what, and who she gave the cameras to. So that worked out pretty well. Are there any other questions I can answer for you? I'm going to mute this for a second while I cough. Okay, well, if there's no other questions, I'm going to go ahead and sign out. You can also see we have this, the webinar, it's probably an old version. We have it on the blog. So if you just did a search on the blog for shot list, I believe it's 2 words, but you can try both ways, 2 words or 1 word, and you'll be able to see the webinar again. And in that post, we have links to download the guest interview questions and all kinds of goodies. So the guest interview questions are really helpful too, because, for the guests who are out of town. Okay, cool. Well, feel free to email me at help@storymixmedia.com if you have any more questions, and I'll be happy to answer them. Thanks so much, Melissa. Bye.